continue listening to God speak to us from the Gospel in the tradition of Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountainside and sat down. The disciples gathered around, and he began to teach them. How blessed are the poor in spirit. The reign of God is theirs. Blessed too are the sorrowing. They will be consoled. Blessed are the lowly. They will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for holiness. They will be filled. Blessed are they who show mercy. Mercy will be theirs. Blessed are the single-hearted. They will see God. Blessed too are the peacemakers. They will be called children of God. And blessed are those who are persecuted for holiness' sake, for the reign of heaven is theirs. And blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and utter every kind of slander against you because of me. Be glad and rejoice, for your reward is great, because they persecuted the prophets before you in the very same way. This is the gospel, good news of our salvation.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
By the words of the gospel, may our sins be blotted out.
Amen.
So we gather on this beautiful Sunday morning, November 1st, Feast of All Saints. I guess the craziness of whatever Halloween has turned out to be is over. Watching the ball game last night from New York City, thanking God that I'm not in that atmosphere weather-wise, and that we have this, as they say, living in paradise. And yet, how many of us really enjoy and experience it? I read something this morning that spoke to me about the word recreation. We all know what recreation is. But if we take that word and we take it apart, in order for us to truly be in the presence of God, we have to be recreated. Take recreation apart, recreated. And that's what it means to be a saint. What is a saint? We heard that what a saint is in the responsorial psalm. Who has the right to climb God's hill? Who can stand in God's presence? Two questions from Psalm 24 from the Hebrew Scriptures. And as I've mentioned to you many times before, if you don't know or allow the Psalms to recreate you, it's time you started to look at them. Who has the right to climb God's hill? Who can stand in God's temple? The answer is in the next sentence. Those who are pure in act and thought, who do not worship idols, and who do not make false promises. God will bless them. God will bless us. Such are those who come to God, who seek the face of the God of Jacob. What is a saint? Each one of us is called to be a saint. I'm sure that there'll never be a church dedicated to St. Dee or to St. Trish, but we're all called to sainthood. It's part of our DNA. Because when we were baptized, we were marked with the oil, as we say, the oil of salvation. The same oil that's used to anoint the sick. The same oil that's used when a person is ordained a priest. The call of salvation, the call of oneness with God. A saint has to be one with God. In Psalm number 8 from the Hebrew Scriptures, we hear, God has made us, not just certain people, not just the ones who wear brown robes, but has made us a little less than the angels. A little less than the angels. And crowned us with glory and honor. Those are powerful words. Crowned us with glory and honor. And when we move away from that presence of God, what we're doing is we're saying, you know what, God? Help me. Look at that. The invitation is there. And how often do we, all of us, right here, how often do we turn away and think only of what John wants, or what Ray wants, or what Robbie wants? We become so self-centered that nothing else exists. We all know people like that. Probably when we washed our face in the morning, we saw that person. And then we go to the Gospel of Matthew. You've heard this before. Maybe different words. Maybe more traditional sounding words. But we make our own tradition. Jesus sits on the mountainside. We've got to remember that the Gospel of Matthew was written primarily for a Jewish community. Why is the concept of the mountainside so important? It's important because Jesus always said, I have come to fulfill two things, the law and the prophets. Okay? The law means who? Moses. Moses got the law where? On the mountainside. So Jesus, to show the connection between the Hebrew Scriptures and his way, sits on the mountainside. And he gives them guidelines. Not commandments, not thou shalt not. Okay? But he gives us guidelines. For those of us who speak Spanish, the first word of every one of the Beatitudes is the word felices, which means happiness. Okay? Happy are the poor in spirit. Happy are those who show mercy. Happy are the single-hearted. Dr. Jesus, and that's not being sacrilegious, okay? Dr. Jesus gives us the prescription for living. You don't feel good physically, you go to the doctor. Or you do what I do, you go for acupuncture. No prescriptions. But if you go to the doctor, the MD, he gives you a prescription. Go to the pharmacy, you fill it, and you decide not to take it. And you feel out. Here we have the prescription for living. Dr. Jesus gives it to us. What do we do with it? Do we say, oh, that's nice? And maybe we might even have a plaque in our house of the Beatitudes. and we might look at them just like the person I remember a long time ago when I first came down to South Florida. I was visiting a woman in her apartment who was a resident at one of the facilities I was working at. And she said, "Father, see that over there on that table? That's my Bible." I said, "Yeah," I said, "I can tell." I said, "It looks like it's not used much." She said, "Well, I don't want to disturb the dust." That's God's honest truth. So are we like her, who have the Bible, who have the crucifix, who have the statues in our home, and they're there because they're nice decorations? Or do we allow God to recreate us? Be glad and rejoice, for your reward will be great. Pray for me as I pray for you. And may God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us, give us peace, now and always.
Amen.
Amen.